Filters are excellent for transforming your sounds in a variety of ways. They can help impart warmth, add movement, create texture, add tonality. They're great. So, what are filters? They're EQs. Before we dive into any audio examples, let's just take a quick look at how different filters stack up when viewed in an EQ. Low-pass filters allow low frequencies through while attenuating or removing high frequencies. High-pass filters do the opposite. They allow the high frequencies through while limiting the low frequencies. Now, cutoff is the point at which you are targeting a specific frequency. This is the area where the change takes effect. Resonance is simply an accent or a volume increase at the point of cutoff. A bandpass filter allows a specific range of frequencies through, and the range of frequencies is called a bandwidth. A peak is simply a volume accent made at a specific frequency band. A notch is the opposite. It's an attenuation or a reduction of volume at a specific band of frequencies. Now, there's even something called multi-mode filters, and these allow you to simply morph between more than one filter type inside of a single filter operation. And this is usually done via a morph knob. Now, there are many more kinds of complex filters that have been emerging over the past several years, and we're only going to see that trend continue. We're going to be taking a look at the most basic forms of filters today and just talking about how we can transform existing sounds and how we can help shape sounds while we're making them with filters. Sometimes we may want to use a filter in a static position, meaning that once the parameters are set, they do not change. This is commonly used in recording to avoid capturing unwanted frequencies and in mixing to help isolate sounds more completely. Now let's take a look at this field recording and pay close attention to the low frequency activity here. It's pretty disruptive. We're going to remove it with an EQ first, just so you can see visually what's occurring with the frequencies and the point of cutoff, and then we'll take a look at it with a filter, so you can see it's actually the same exact process occurring. Here we go. So you can see there's quite a bit of buildup over here. We're just going to roll this up a fair bit of the way. Let's just take off. Let's try about right here and see what this sounds like. Quite a bit less disruptive. There's a lot less low-end impact happening. Now let's turn this off and we're going to pull up a filter. Okay, so this one is from Kilohertz and it's just our basic filter, and I've set it up in a high pass mode, so we're going to cut out the low frequencies here. Easy peasy, right? Oftentimes though, using a filter also means using modulators. This is just a way to automate a change in a parameter like opening and closing a filter by adjusting the cutoff with an envelope or an LFO. Okay, so let's now take a look at manipulating sounds on a deeper level. Let's say you've got a long form sound like this drone. Now, this one has some really nice qualities to it, but maybe you want to affect the tonality, and maybe you want to impart some movement. Now, a lot of the work is going to go into this if you do this all in the arrangement window, right? It's going to take up multiple automation lanes, and it's just going to take some time. A quicker way to go about doing this would maybe be to just bring it into a sampler. And inside most samplers, you're going to have things like filter control, modulators to help bring your sound to life and transform it in different ways. Let's go ahead and try that. We're going to turn on the filter, and we're going to say we're going to use LFO1, and we're going to target the filter cutoff, and I'm just going to start playing a note, and we're going to dial it in as we play. Nice, right? Okay, let's say you're working with a loop and you want to make it your own. Let's add some movement to this thing. It's got a ton of character, right? We just need to make it move a little bit. Now I'm going to reach for a plugin called Movement from Output. Now Movement allows you to use filters alongside other simple tools like distortion, delay, and reverb. This can impart a ton of movement and character very quickly without having to enter into your automation lanes. Here's a preset called Drifting Figures. We've made slight adjustments to this by backing off the wet-dry mix. It adds a kind of a tenuous quality to it, right? Softening the edges of this thing a bit. When I click on the filter here, you're going to see what is actually happening with the modulation on the cutoff parameter. Now what's happening is there are some sequencers, some modulators here, and they're modulating these parameters at a pretty quick pace, right? And that's imparting this kind of rapid movement to this thing. Let's try this plucking around. You can see here that the modulation is happening on the cutoff parameter again. And if we were to click into this filter over here, you're going to see something pretty similar. Now, the reason why we have different operations happening on these two different filters is to create separation between the two. It's going to bring a great amount of depth and immersive quality to this. Now let's take a look at using filters inside of a synth to affect our sound. This first example is from the Ghost Hack Psytrance Awakening 4 collection. It's just a simple bass patch called Creamy Coffee, and it sounds like this. Now I'm just going to cycle through a few different filter positions. This is running in the MG low 18, as you can see here. I'm just going to back this off to the MG low 6, and then we're going to audition the 12, the 18, and then finally the 24. So you can hear the difference in these filter positions. And what's changing is the slope, is the degree at which the filter is cutting off those frequencies, okay? So it's going to be more aggressive in cutting away the frequencies at 24 than it is at 6. And then we're going to move this thing around. We're going to modulate it, okay? Okay, so you can hear it's quite a bit tighter here. I'm going to add an LFO now. We're going to set this to a 2-bar clip, and we're just going to automate some frequency changes in this thing. Just going to make it a little bit more interesting as it plays through. More interesting, right? Let's take a look at playing with a sequenced patch. This is an arpeggiated preset for Serum from the Essential Sounds for Serum Volume 3 collection. It's just an ARP called Phantom, and it sounds like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to play with the disclosure of frequencies over time. And we're going to set an LFO to modulate the cutoff of this thing. But we're going to re-trigger it and set it to 1-bar rate. And then we're going to change this away from a triangle, and we're going to make this into a square wave. So what is going to happen here is the frequencies are going to be allowed through in the first half of the bar, and then we're going to largely cut them away in the second half here. So let's see what this sounds like here. It's kind of created the illusion that we've resequenced this patch when actually we haven't. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so remember at the beginning of this video when I said all filters are just EQs? It's actually not true. Not all the way anyway, not all the time. In fact, some filters are just special effects, like let's take a look at these. Ringmod, for instance. This is actually another form of synthesis, but unlike FM synthesis where we're adding frequencies and subtractive synthesis where we're taking frequencies away, there's another audio input involved in Ringmod, and the output is the sum and the difference of those two signals combining. You're losing the original signal. It's kind of complex. Here's our sound unaffected. Here's our sound running through a Ringmod. Now, sample and hold is actually a sample rate reduction, so it degrades the audio. And then we've got combs, and combs are really interesting, but they're not EQs either. They're actually really short form delays of all things, and they're incredibly useful. Cool effect. Okay, so we have barely scratched the surface when it comes to using filters, so please do let us know in a comment below what you really want to see most in future tutorials. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, ding the bell, share with a friend, and we will see you on the flip. Peace out, y'all.